Hi, this is Aaron Marshall with Ratio Christi here at UNC Wilmington. We are in a series of videos where we're looking at the Kalam cosmological argument. And the Kalam cosmological argument is one of the many arguments for God's existence that we look at and dissect and talk about at our Ratio Christi meetings here at UNC Wilmington. The Kalam argument says this: it says everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. And in the previous videos, we looked at why we believe premise 1 and premise 2 are true. And then we looked at, in a previous video, some of the objections that people make towards this argument. I wanted to take another stab at dealing with objections by looking at the way that one of the brightest people in all of the world deals with this, because I just want to submit to you that when it comes to religion and things of this, that bright, intelligent, genius people can make some silly mistakes. So Stephen Hawking is one of the smartest people in the entire world, smarter than than I'll ever be. But he's written a book called The Grand Design, in which he says, yes, I believe the universe came into existence. In fact, it looks very designed. But he says this. Now, he says a couple of things in the book. Let me just, as a tangent, he says that this book and the ideas in this book are rooted in philosophical, are rooted in naturalism and determinism. He believes that we're just sort of gene machines dancing to our DNA. He says that free will is an illusion. It's interesting, if free will is an illusion, who wrote the book, The Grand Design? Was it just his genes, or did Stephen Hawking write it? Did he come to conclusions and then freely wrestle through those and then come to conclusions that God doesn't exist? Or was he just genetically determined to believe that? You see, if you're a philosophical naturalist, if you're a materialist, it seems like there's just certain deterministic views that you can't get away from, although you're spending much of your time trying to get away from them. Right? He says this is a science question, but then he spends most of the rest of his book doing philosophy. So again, smart, probably one of the smartest men alive, 10 times smarter than I'll ever be, but it does seem like he's making certain basic philosophical mistakes that I think will mar the book. But the interesting thing that he says, pertinent to this discussion, is this. He says, because there is a law like gravity, the universe can and will create itself out of nothing. So he's trying to answer the question, what was the cause of the universe? And he says nothing caused everything to come to existence. But if you catch that, again, because there is a law like gravity, the universe can and will create itself out of nothing. So the question for you, listener, the person who's watching this video, is this: is there the fact that there's the law of gravity? Is that nothing? See, what he thinks nothing is just a little bit of something. Nothing isn't just a little bit of something. Nothing is what is literally no thing. Right? Aristotle said it's what rocks dream about. We're not talking about just a lot of empty space with some stuff in it. No, we're talking about nothing. There was nothing, and then bang, there was everything. So nothing can't be just a little bit of something, because the question for Stephen Hawking is what? Where does the law of gravity come from? See, you can't just get away from that by smuggling a little bit of something into the word nothing. There's another famous scientist, Lawrence Krauss, again, 100 times smarter than I'll ever be. So, I just think he's making simple errors in this. He wrote a book called A Universe from Nothing. And again, what he defines nothing as is a little bit of something. But that's not what we mean when we say nothing. It seems like the evidence is that there was nothing, literally no thing, nothing, and then bang, there was everything. And the question for you, the person who's watching this video, is what best explains that? Because you can't say, well, the law of gravity explains that, because the law of gravity is something and it has to be accounted for. It didn't exist. And so Stephen Hawking's, again, smarter than I would ever be, but he just makes a fundamental mistake here, because if everything that begins to exist needs a cause, then gravity needs to begin. Gravity needs a cause. Okay? And so unless you want to say gravity is the thing that's always existed, it's the uncaused cause, but you're going to have to make an argument from that. And in the next video, I'll actually make an argument for why we believe God is the uncaused cause, the cause that brought everything into existence. So remember, at Ratio Christi here at UNC Wilmington, we always encourage people to ask good questions, asking, who invented God and what does nothing mean. Those are great questions, but also seek good answers. And don't just listen to an answer that a scientist gives you. Do a little digging to see if what they're saying makes sense. Because honestly, in this book, The Grand Design, Stephen Hawking, what he's saying here just doesn't make any good philosophical sense. This is Aaron Marshall, live with Ratio Christi here at UNC Wilmington.